I see dead people.
Hot shit.
Here's Johnny.
Stop.
We have such sights to show you.
Bring the motherfucking ruckus. Fuck you too.
Fucky fuck, flame fuck, lick, fuck Blake.
This is how you're gonna start the episode.
This is my vocal warm-up.
Okay.
Hi.
So, on literally the last episode, I was just explaining to Where Am I that I absolutely abhor when Frowns eats on the show.
Yeah, that's
because you'll hear like a little wrinkle,
I
crinkle
think we all hate it.
in in the side, and I'll be like, "We're doing something," and he's just like, "But I'm hungry," and then I want to hit him.
Yeah.
I want to hit him.
That's
like, let's be honest.
Worse
like,
is Discord.
Yeah.
Where he'll be like, "I want to play a game."
No, he'll mute
then
himself,
his
and
Uber
then
Eats.
he'll eat like chips and stuff, and then he'll come back on and be like, "Yeah, sorry, I'm eating right now." Yeah, no, fucking mute yourself. Fucking go back on mute. Oh yeah, but the Uber Eats thing. It's like, sorry, I gotta get out of here for 20 minutes. I gotta go get my Uber Eats.
Like, there's a minute where you're like,
you could've just made it in the time that
right
you've been
there.
gone.
It should be at the door, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like 20 minutes later, we're like waiting around on the boat, and we're like, where is he?
For me, it's D&D. Like, literally
that
waiting.
makes sense, too.
Literally, like, 5 people waiting for him to get his Uber Eats. Just sitting there waiting for him. Like, just holding everyone up for his Uber Eats. It's okay. He doesn't listen to this.
Oh, okay, cool. We're safe.
No,
This is the
even
one he
it,
listens
even like the day he goes out of his way to listen to an episode where I shit talk him is the day I will owe him an apology. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
'Cause it's only as good as I can draw it out, which is most of the time.
Let's just cut through the bullshit right now. Just get to the main.
Well, the bullshit I wanted to cut through was welcome to the episode. This is our 8-year anniversary. I've been doing 8-year anniversary episodes with people who've actually been here for the full 8 years.
Hello. Welcome to Sports Talk Power Hour with your host, Terrence Howard.
Not again.
And Buzzy Beat.
Okay. Am I Terrence Howard or am I Buzzy Beat?
Sure.
Okay.
So as we dawn on this 20-year anniversary of the Sports Talk Power Hour,
20 years.
We really want to bring to light some political issues we've been noticing.
Wow.
In the Sports Talks Power Hour fan base.
We're getting 2 things I dislike in one throw here.
Yeah.
Sports and politics.
Ah, nice. One throw. Sports Talk Power Hour. Thank you for tuning in.
Say that.
This week in the Sports Talk Power Hour, we, here at Sports Talk Power Hour, we're going to talk about sports and for a power hour. So Sports Talk's Power Hour is very well known.
Isn't a power hour where people just get, like, absolutely shit-faced?
Sure, yeah. You drink, like, a shot of beer every minute. So 60 shots of beer, which roughly is, like, maybe 4, but you're downing 4 beers in an hour.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a fun time. So Sports Talk Power Hour.
Okay. So, anyway, I'm sure you're...
Buzzy Beat signing out.
I'm sure you're wondering. Do you know how many episodes you've done? Do you know what this episode is?
Oh, are we doing Jeff the Killer Part 2?
No, absolutely not. I fucking refuse. I can't even joke about that. Like, I could show you my schedule for the next, like, 50-some episodes, and Jeff is nowhere to be fucking seen. Because he doesn't deserve to be seen. It's not.
Hey,
it's not because I forsake you.
Listen,
you're on 3 or 4 more episodes. Jeff is not coming back though.
Oof. All right. I see how it goes. Go to sleep. No, I actually don't know.
This is your 20th episode.
You know, funny. That was the number in my head too.
Yeah. This is your 20th episode. We've been doing the show for 8 years. You've been on, I'd say, 1 or 2 a year. But, you know, in the beginning, you were on a lot more.
Sports Talk Power Hour.
Yeah.
Your old heavy hands is...
Those Rocky Hockey.
Oh, yes, that's when he was Rocky Hockey.
That was when he was Rocky Hockey.
He was allowed to change his name. I couldn't become, you know, Peach Tea Dream Team or Little Debbie Snack Cakes, but whatever.
Peach Tea Dream... Okay, listen. The copyright bullshit I've run into with Strawberry Shortcake will not be lived down. I can't have you be Little Debbie Snack Cakes, because then I'm just getting fucked from all different sides.
Wait, you got hit with copyright shit with that?
Oh,
I didn't know that, actually.
They absolutely made me take down anything I was selling with his face on it. But not the
even though it's
podcast.
a
The
parody?
podcast, people don't care. Yeah, even though it's a parody. I tried claiming that this was parody use, and they said it's too similar. And I was like, okay, I can understand that.
Huh.
All I really did do was, like, draw the exact tracing outline of the same character, add a beard and, like, a weed leaf, you know?
Right, well, okay.
I mean, I changed aspects, but it really is very similar. So I get it. I didn't fight that one. But Peach Tea Dream Team is the name of that episode. That's you and Bunch of Baby Ducks. That can't just be your name.
Peach Tea Dream Team.
The fact that you remember it after fucking 7 years is enough for me to...
I have a playlist called Peach Tea Dream Team.
Oh,
And my other
okay.
playlist is called
All
Little
right.
Debbie Snack Cakes.
Alright, fair enough. If I were to make a t-shirt for your character, it would have you, you know, with, like, Tom Cruise, called Jack Reach Around.
Okay, yeah, okay.
I like that
Jack
one.
Reach Around.
I like that one more than Peach Tea Dream Team. But for your 20th episode and for our 8-year reunion, our 8-year anniversary, I mean to say, I'm gonna immediately renege on something I said last episode, which is I was yelling at Where Am I for talking about wanting to eat something on the show, and then he got really close to the mic and started doing ASMR, like chewing. And I said, please stop. I beg you. Because that was his, like, 30th episode.
Yeah.
And I was like, please, for the love of God. So we're going to do that right now. I went out and I got us some McRibbeds, which they've been sitting around for like a half hour. They don't look great. I'm going to cut however much of this I need to, but our commentary is going to be here. I don't want to listen to us just smacking our lips.
They're gelatinous probably by now.
They've always been.
Oh, that looks worse. Yours at least looks
You want to
together.
switch?
No.
You're living in it now?
I'm going to live in it.
So when's the last time you had a McRib?
Can we talk about the whole fucking onion?
I didn't get that much onion.
Yeah, right? Like, I
got
love
like
onion, but damn.
You got like an entire
shit.
shredded onion right there. What's the last time you had a McRib?
I never had one.
You never had a McRib?
I avoid this abomination.
So this is the first time you're having a McRib?
You know, I may have had one before.
I was going to say, I could have sworn
I
you
probably
had
had it when it first came back.
But when it first...
Years ago.
I'll say it first came out in, like, I don't know, like 2012 or something. It was around a while ago.
Well, that came back. It originally started, like, in the 70s or something. Or
Did
the
it
80s.
really?
Yeah.
It was a thing.
Yeah, McRib's old.
Okay.
And every year they bring it back and they go, this is the last time.
I first tried it in high school when everyone was going nutty about it. I really didn't like it that much.
No. Not that you should.
And then a bunch of years later, I saw that it was back again. And I said, you know what, I'm going to give a try and see if it's improved over time. And it didn't. And I wasn't a fan again. And then I saw that we were going to hang out today, and I asked if you wanted me to pick up dinner.
1981.
81? No, you were right. I believed you.
Nationwide, 1982.
Okay. So this has always been a bad idea, is what you're saying. It's about as old as America. It's been as bad an idea since America's foundation.
Oh.
It doesn't look great. I'm gonna level with you. We've been hanging out for like a half hour, 40 minutes or something like that, maybe like an hour now. And they've been in my car for another 20 minutes on top of that. I'm not excited for this. Honestly, if this disgusts anyone, because the last thing I actually want to do is turn anyone off, anything that we're about to do, just skip 15 minutes forward in the show. Maybe half an hour to make it worth it. Or just, click on the description for the episode and just click on the timestamp. That leads you right to the beginning of the story.
Well, he's going to put in a joke timestamp that
leads you right into the middle of us chewing.
That leads you right back. It'll say
it starts the conversation
it'll
over.
Say, this is the middle of the story. And all you hear is...
No, I'm not looking forward to this. Can I... So...
My McRibbed was trying to escape a little bit.
Here's another thing. I arguably don't even like barbecue tasting things. Like, they have to be a certain type of barbecue for me to enjoy it. You're already making noises. What did you take?
Why is it so chewy?
What did you take? Like a little corner?
Like that little bit?
Like that little bit right there? Alright, I'm doing first bite. What's it? Dave Portnoy? One bite, everyone knows the rules, takes 5 bites.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'm trying to figure out how I want to pick this up. Oh, get out. Oh. 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 Oh.
So, first impression, not as bad as I thought. Second impression, this is too big.
No,
I don't think I can eat all this. Why is this bigger than their regular sandwiches?
Why does it... I thought the meat was supposed to be different. It just tastes like...
No, it's rib meat.
But it literally just tastes like their burger.
Oh. No. No, their burgers taste different.
Oh.
I think what you're trying to say is it has the same texture.
Bro, we waited too long to do this because eating this cold is like evil.
It's not that bad.
No. So here's the Sports Talk Power Hour.
Yeah, there's nothing I love to do more than talk about sports right now.
I saw.
What's the sport that's getting everyone worked up nowadays? Was it football? Some kids in a nearby college threw the field goal post off a bridge into a river.
That is true. That did happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was Lehigh.
Yeah. I was trying not to name drop it.
Oh. That was Beehive. What else? I don't know. Mike Tyson and Jake Paul.
Oh, that was sad. That was actually very sad.
Mm-hmm.
If we're actually going to do all the things I hate right now, which is like eating while recording, we might as well talk about something else I hate, which is Jake Paul. Man, did I just really wish I could watch that kid just get punched in the fucking face. And of all the people to not really do it, Mike Tyson.
I think Mike Tyson could have killed him.
I mean, yeah.
I think the whole purpose, honestly, was like to get money.
I mean, yeah, duh.
Plus, it's a 58-year-old man against a 27-year-old kid.
Still wanted to see him just batter that fucking kid.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh. Oh.
Publicity stunt.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Kind of like eating a McRibbed on a podcast that has nothing to do with it.
Thank you for tuning into the McRibbed Power Hour.
This has nothing to do with the story we're going to read later, by the way.
It has everything to do with the story.
I'm doing this because I feel like I need to leave my comfort zone every once in a while.
I'm proud of you.
And, you know, what's my therapist say?
Grab life by the McRibbed.
Yeah, definitely says that. And then, you know, puts on his, like, what is it? Big red shoes and yellow overalls. Clown makeup. Yeah, fair enough.
Gives you a light kiss on the forehead.
I was going to say, my therapist says to do things that scare you. And then the idea is that if you continuously do things that scare you every single day, you'll just be scared for the rest of your life. I think that's how that saying goes.
Mm-hmm. Just keep eating McRibs every day.
I can't do that. That killed a guy.
I wouldn't put it back. I ate a McRib.
You're already done.
No. I just got it over with.
It's really not that bad.
Harold Heavy Hands loves McRibs.
Does he? Shame he's not here.
Last time he got a McRib is when we were driving to a friend's place, and he...
What's funny is his story actually has the story I've saved for him has to deal with like a butcher. So I could have done that with him, and
You could have ate a McRib with him.
I could have. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to.
Yeah.
I wanted to eat a McRib with you.
Oh, babe. You treat me so well.
I'll try.
They call me McRib.
Alright.
Is it getting hard to breathe?
What were you going to say? You're going to say that you went to take him to go get a McRib once?
Well, no, we were going to a friend's place, so we're driving there. And during, like, COVID periods, when we would go there, we would always go get fast food on the way. Because, like, I would get out of work late, and it would be, like, say, 7, 8 o'clock at night, and we're, like, rushing over there. So, a lot of eating in his car. So, the one day we go to McDonald's, and he gets himself 2 McRibs. They coated those motherfuckers in barbecue.
In sauce.
It was caked, leaking sauce. And there he is, driving on, can't name the road, but on an interstate highway. Just pounding back that McRib. Hands caked in barbecue sauce as I'm handing him napkin after napkin.
Yeah, let Jesus take the wheel.
Yeah.
Let Ronald take the wheel. You sound sick.
Oh, God.
You okay?
Yeah, McRib life, dude. They call me the McRib bib.
Do they? You gonna let Harold know that this happened?
Probably. I'm just surprised the fucking McRib's back, dude. They sat and said it wasn't ever gonna come back. Little do I know, like, the McRib's been gone for, like,
I like
years
that
now.
that's the thing that surprises you the most.
Yeah, that a corporate company goes, yeah,
we're never doing that again.
Let's bring back a thing that makes us fucking money. Shit, I hate everything. Hey, fuck off. Fuck off. Don't you hate it when you wake up in the middle of the night and your dad's standing there with a McRib in his hands?
Are you winning yet, son?
And he hands you the McRib and says, who was phone?
Oh shit, that is how that goes. Do I have to finish this?
Dude, you got like 2 fucking bites left.
It's like 6 bites for someone with a tiny mouth.
Dude, put it all in your mouth.
No. I will choke and die. Live on this broadcast.
I mean, isn't that the way you want to go out?
No.
McRib in hand? McRib in throat?
No. Absolutely.
Hey, here's a joke you probably haven't heard before. McRibbed for your pleasure.
Oh.
Yeah.
That would be the title of the episode.
Great. For a part that most people will probably want to skip past.
Uh-huh.
You better... I know you don't like putting sounds on things all the time. But you better put, like, fucking blaring horns and honking and shit. Just be like... put a little soundbite of you going... This is the food part. This is the food part. Please jump to this point if you don't want to hear this.
Jump to this point. Jump to this part. Part. Wee woo, wee woo, wee woo.
Keep listening if you dare.
Are you scared yet?
Let me go get a pickle. Oh. I don't have any pickles. Oh, you meant you handed me that pickle.
Fell out of my sandwich.
That's a shame.
I'm not hungry anymore.
You're almost there, dude. 2 more bites.
You said that 2 bites ago.
This bit is going on long. All you gotta do is finish it out.
Is the bit done when I finish the sandwich?
Yeah.
It's so chewy.
Yeah, so? It's a McRib.
It's the first thing you said.
Hi, come on down to your local McDonald's and get yourself a McRib.
Ba 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 ba. Kill yourself.
Barbecue sauce. Oh, wait.
Yep.
That's Chili's.
Baby back, baby back, baby back.
You know, a couple years ago, at one point,
Why didn't they make a McRib sandwich?
Well, they can't make the McRib. That's
I mean, yeah, good point.
Yeah, come on, dude.
Fucking asshole. Oh.
Jesus Christ. This is...
I'm not trying to draw it out. It's just happening.
Wake me up when you're done.
Wake me up
No, September
when
ended.
McRibbed.
Oh, okay. You brought it back. I was scared there. Just say September ended already.
I bet you Billy Joel Armstrong loves some McRibs.
Oh yeah, no, dude.
Doesn't
totally...
he look like the guy who would eat a McRib?
Oh fuck yeah. He's probably vegan or some shit though, knowing it.
Good point. He'd say that people who eat meat are fags.
Jesus, dude. Holy shit.
It's okay. I can say it on an episode where Frowns isn't present.
Oh my god. He once said we were allowed to say the word in front of him now, and then we used it a little too much one day, and he said, "No more."
You know what? You ruined that. Every once in a while, it comes up on an episode, and I'm like, should I cut that out? And sometimes I do. This time I'm keeping it.
Do not pussyfoot that bite. There we go. Finally.
I had to. I got halfway through it and started talking, and I was like, I can't not do this now.
This is how men are made.
I hope not.
When you were born, they're like, "This is a boy."
My dad is sitting there eating a McRib.
He puts a McRib in your child's mouth, even though you have no teeth and have no process of understanding what's going on.
And I just go,
He's like, "My son. My son has
my
risen."
boy!
Hello.
My son!
Hey, son.
Alright,
Sean!
gotta wash this down.
Ah, yes. Wash it down with a nice cold Coca-Cola beverage.
It is true what they say.
McDonald's Coke is the best Coke.
McDonald's Coke hits different.
Yeah, no, I don't know what the fuck it is.
I will say, though,
I mean, they probably have like a different syrup or something.
there's a restaurant in Disney that uses 50s simple syrups.
Uh-huh.
And they
There's
have,
like a place in
they
Jersey
have the
that
cherry
does that
and
too.
the vanilla. So every time I'm there, I do the cherry and the vanilla.
Yeah. Yeah, McDonald's Coke and Sprite.
Alright,
Sprite Cranberry.
it's okay.
Starring LeBron James. LeBron James.
So,
Yeah, to add that one in there. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm done eating the McRib now.
The McRib is now eating you.
Oh shit, it's like The Stuff. That horror movie where the fucking tapioca starts eating people. Yeah.
Bomba da bomba bang bang baby.
You know what's funny?
Oh,
when
sorry.
we were eating the chicken Big Macs like an hour ago, I remember saying this isn't that bad. But now that I have a chicken Big Mac and a McRib in my gullet, I'm not feeling great.
Yeah, no, fully understandable. Here's my complaint.
Yeah.
That was a lot of dead air I made.
I was gonna say, I thought you were gonna shit.
No.
I thought you were gonna just like shit on live cam.
No. Our boy is home.
Which one?
Where am I?
Where am I?
Yeah. Harold Heavygans ain't in the state right now.
Where's he at?
He's going down to South Carolina.
Oh, he's seen his fam?
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, that's his Thanksgiving plans.
See, he last told me, let me see if I can get this correctly to quote him.
McRib is back.
Nope. No, he would know, but he didn't tell me. No. He said Thanksgiving food is for the dogs.
Uh-huh.
And I said, what do you mean? Thanksgiving food is for people. And he, oh man. He shook his head and walked out of the room.
This is the episode that involves ASMR and vomit.
If only we were reading Vor.
Yeah, dude. This would be the episode to reread Feed the Pig.
No, I wasn't even talking about Feed the Pig. I'm talking about the episode that is literally titled That One Time We Accidentally Read Vor. I think it's episode like 183 or something.
Great.
Yeah, it was Crying Hawaiian's last episode. He didn't want to come back after that. The truth is he moved to Brooklyn, but I like saying that it was because of the vor that made him leave the state.
Great.
Oh man. I got like pieces of it stuck in my teeth.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's like a little snack for later.
Yeah. Like,
For while I'm reading.
As they say, to McRibbed, it's the gift that keeps on ribbing.
While I'm reading, I'm just like picking little parts of it out of my teeth, tasting it again.
Yeah. Imagine if it was
Doing
a frog.
Doing like tongue noises, just doing little...
If they made a frog version, they called it...
Yeah, there you go.
They
Like
called
that.
it the McRibbed.
McRibbed.
See?
Did it.
I have good bits, dude.
Ribbit.
Hell yeah, dude.
That shit's
I don't know
fucking
if you picked up
funny.
my tongue noises, but
No,
I
definitely
made
not.
them.
Yeah,
Hey,
I'm
good
aware.
job on that.
Where am I?
Yeah. What more can be said in these last like 2.5 minutes that need be said about the McRib?
Absolutely disgusting.
You didn't like it?
No. I fucking hate this thing.
Okay.
Though it's funny, because I'll admit, I love the rib witches you can buy at the dollar store.
Okay.
If they exist anymore.
I didn't hate it, but it's not what I would call good. Because here's the thing, if I want to eat ribs, I'm just going to go eat ribs. You ever see that video? I ever show you that video of Santa? Where Santa,
actually.
Santa says, "You've been a naughty boy this Christmas, haven't you?" And then he bends over and he spreads his butt cheeks and he says, "You want to fuck Santa's ass?" He says, come here, Balto."
Pretty good.
Yeah, I got that one from Punks. He has it downloaded on his phone. He's always ready to share that with someone.
Great.
Ho, 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 you've been a good boy, haven't you? And then he, like, opens up his robe and you just see his, like, tiny fucking...
Oh, I've
balls.
heard- I know this
Fat
video.
fucking fupa hanging over his
Yeah,
dick.
because he's got like a fucking micro dick or something
He
in
does,
the video.
and then he turns over and he spreads his butt cheeks. And he says, "You want to fuck Santa's ass?" Happy Christmas to everyone, by the way.
Whoa, it's Thanksgiving, dude.
No. This episode is going to be the first episode of December. This episode comes out not this week, but next week.
Oh, great.
Merry
Merry Christmas, y'all.
Merry Christmas, everyone. No, I told myself if I was going to finish the year out, I usually finish it with frowns, but he's not here. Wah, wah. So he and I recorded a Christmas episode like 3 months ago. Because I was like, if you're in town and you're not coming back later, we're going to do it now, and I'm just going to put it in the can for later. I made him do some edibles, and he got really high and couldn't really read very well, so that was a good time.
Yeah, that's usually how it always goes.
Everyone, yeah, I know. Everyone look forward to that soon. But then I thought to myself, like, hey, it's Terry's 20th episode. Let's make some regretful decisions. Let's ask him to record on our 8-year anniversary. After recording the Horny Magician episode with Where Am I? That was special. And I said, I have Terry written down for like 3 or 4 more episodes before, I'm thinking about ending the show or, quote unquote, just closing a chapter of it for a while. But, I said 8-year anniversary, let's do it right. Let's do us some ASMR eating some McRibs, and let's read a stupid fucking story for everyone this Christmas season.
I hope it's a real dumb fucking story.
It might be.
Oh, okay, cool.
I don't know. It has a fun title. The title made me think of you, which is why I picked it.
Is it called Jeff the Killer?
Oh, if only. It's not.
The third remake of Jeff the Killer that adds more
I-
exposition than it needs.
I can't even begin to describe how many spin-off Jeff the Killer things exist. And how little I want to read or talk about any of them.
Beta Ray Bill,
What?
Thor,
I was gonna say. That's like a horse face guy.
other Thor,
Female Thor.
female Thor. Do you like that I kind of said that with the TH there? Female Thor.
It was
Female
accurate.
Thor. Oh, yeah!
It was accurate to the Marvel fan.
Hey, I see dead people. Remember that movie?
Yeah, it's also in the intro to our song, or intro to our show. Intro song.
Thank you for tuning in to the Sports Talk Power Hour. We want to say thank you for the past 20 years. Here's the 20 years more. When me and Chip Schuyler die.
Anyway, J.K. Rowling.
Jesus Christ. Sirius Black entered the chamber. And by chamber, I mean my asshole.
That's the McRibbed entered the chamber.
That's my chamber.
The chamber pot of secrets. Oh, what's his name? Peter Blatter or something like that?
Professor, I can't take all of it. Harry, we're going to spit roast you. Dumbledore.
I was going to say, that's Dumbledore's like fantasy.
Your
right
donkey dick is going to destroy me.
Whoa.
My tight little hole.
This is
Avada Kedavra.
This is my elder wand. It just ends with that noise.
Ronald Reed.
God damn it. I thought you really did say earlier that you just hoped we were doing more Harry Potter erotic fan fiction. Oh. Alright. Let me see if I can find something.
Chapter.
I'm only going to read part 1. If there is multiple parts, I don't give a shit. We're only reading the first one. But apparently it's really funny.
You're funny.
I try to be. Alright, this is called It Could Only Happen to Harry.
Holy shit.
Chapter 1.
You better have spooky music as we read this.
Harry Potter, the boy who lived, now known as the boy who won, walked hesitantly toward the open doors of the hospital wing. He had defeated Voldemort, for good, only 3 weeks ago, but he would almost rather face him again than deal with his current problem. It was his victory over Voldemort that lay at the root of his discomfort. When Harry had struck down the Dark Lord on the Hogwarts lawn, a rush of raw power had flowed from Voldemort to him. He hadn't understood it, but he knew it made him feel incredibly powerful and alive.
Is this the new book?
At first, he had welcomed the new sensation. He felt practically invincible, and he no longer had the weight of the prophecy hanging from his neck. The entire wizarding world celebrated his victory, and Harry celebrated along with them. It took only a few days for him to realize that this new power came with a price. It began with a crushing weight in his chest that made it hard for him to breathe. He felt relief only when he expended great amounts of magical energy in the room of requirement, yet he never approached magical exhaustion no matter what he tried.
He ate a McRib.
It continued, however, with a much more embarrassing condition. Harry now had a constant erection. As a red-blooded 17-year-old male, he was no stranger to being easily aroused, but this was different. He was now almost painfully erect at all times, and felt the need to relieve himself up to 10 times per day.
Jesus Christ.
Remember when I told you in high school that I saw how many times I could do it in one day, and I did it 19 times, and you asked how my thing is still attached to my body? You remember that?
Why'd you do it?
I don't know, man. Sometimes
cool.
you gotta know your limits.
You know, it's funny you bring that up, because I was talking about the time. Remember when there was the riot at school? And, I mean, I guess he doesn't really matter. Was expelled or suspended?
I want to say suspended.
For a very long time, though. And he, supposedly everybody was, rumor on the streets, let's make jokes. He, went to a hospital because he beat his meat, 60 times in a day or some shit.
Oh,
and everyone went, boys, we know the limit now.
That's a good reputation to have.
Yeah, right? I forget how that one fully went down. But I remember everybody made fun of it like that.
That's a good rumor. I like that.
It was. Good for him.
The relief lasted only for a half hour or so, and then his erection would return, crying out for attention. Even someone as sexually inexperienced as Harry knew this wasn't normal. So now he was approaching the one person he knew wouldn't laugh at his predicament, Madame Pomfrey.
Who's that?
The nurse.
Okay.
He had
Don't remember it still, but okay.
The nurse. What do you think this is? Pumpkin juice?
It's been so long, dude.
He had considered approaching Hermione, but this problem was a little too personal in nature.
Yes, of course.
Likewise, he couldn't see himself approaching Dumbledore about the situation. The aged headmaster he would be dead at this time.
He would also be the headmaster.
He'd be dead. If it's after Voldemort, he's already gone. Okay, the story's already off the rails. The aged headmaster had trained him personally for the last 2 years and was an expert on all things magical, but there was no way he was going to talk to the old man about his penis. Knocking loudly on the open doorway to the hospital wing, Harry girded himself for the humiliating conversation to come.
Oh, you don't want to be Harry?
I was going to be everyone else.
Okay. Madam Pomfrey?
Come in, Mr. Potter, said the matronly nurse after she bustled out of her office. What can I do for you? Don't tell me you've managed to injure yourself again already.
Not exactly.
Harry muttered, his face heating
like my
up.
Harry voice?
I do. You keep doing it like a fucking Deku from My Hero Academia.
You see, well, it's kind of embarrassing.
Well, I've seen and heard it all, young man. I assure you that this will stay between us. What is the matter? He spent the next 5 minutes explaining to Madame Pomfrey the nature of his new condition, and by the time he finished, she was staring openly at his crotch. I see. You say that you feel relief from the pressure after you expend a lot of your magic, and you feel a similar relief after you masturbate. Mm-hmm. He nodded. Mm-hmm. His face beat red. Mm-hmm. All right, Mr. Potter. I need to evaluate your condition. Please remove all of your clothing.
All right, before we continue, let's...
Harry nearly choked at her command.
I'm not even going to make the comment.
But she held up her hand imperiously. None of that now. They all look alike to me. I need you to disrobe. He reluctantly removed every last stitch of clothing, even his shirt. Pomfrey began by moving her wand in small circles over his chest, muttering as she went. He nearly yelped when her wand dropped near his erect penis. She leaned in to examine it, and he wondered if it was possible to die from embarrassment. She moved her wand slowly around his entire length, stopping for a moment to poke at each testicle. He relaxed slightly when she finally stepped back.
You know she did a...
to each testicle poke.
Yeah.
Your heart rate and blood pressure are elevated, but your genitals appear perfectly normal. I'm not sure what's happening. You may put your clothes back on, Mr. Potter. Please have a seat. I need to fetch something. Harry was never more relieved to follow her instructions. When she returned from her office, she carried with her a red jewel the size of a tennis ball. He looked at it curiously. This is a special diagnostic tool. It's used to measure magical potential in both objects and people. It will basically tell me how strong your magical core is. Please hold it for me. He did so, and the stone glowed an even deeper red. Pomfrey waved her wand over his hand, and her mouth fell open in shock. Merciful Merlin! She gasped.
What is it?
Harry asked, his sense of impending doom kicking into high gear. Your magical core, it registers over 9,000.
Over 9,000?
He asked incredulously and then reflected for a moment.
Is that a lot?
I should say so, Mr. Potter, she replied, shaking her head. The average witch or wizard would register about 1,000, and the headmaster would probably exceed 3. 9 is simply unheard of, and dangerous, she added as an afterthought. He swallowed heavily.
Gulp.
Wondering what new horror he would have to deal with now that Voldemort was gone. He couldn't seem to catch a break. Well, this clearly has something to do with your battle with the Dark Lord, but I've never seen anything like it. I will need to confer with Saint Mungos over this. When he started to object, she cut him off. I'm sorry, but your life is likely in danger. It is my duty as your healer to find out what is happening. I have my suspicions, but I need to consult with experts. He sighed, and reluctantly gave his permission for her to seek answers elsewhere. One last thing. I'm going to need a sample.
A sample?
She said, picking up a small empty vial from a cabinet on the wall.
A sample? There we go.
Of your sperm. Harry groaned and closed his eyes, wondering just how worse his day was gonna get. Oh.
Yeah, I was gonna, was I supposed to be... Great.
2 hours later, he sat on his usual bed in the hospital wing, as Pomfrey explained what she had discovered. I'm afraid the news is not encouraging. It is imperative that we find a way to drain your magical core as soon as possible. Everyone agrees that your magic is literally leaking out of you, and sooner or later it will kill you. Your body simply cannot tolerate so much power. Harry's stomach sank as she spoke. He expected the diagnosis to be unpleasant, but not life-threatening. To have endured so much training and battle, only to die of possessing too much magic. It was absurd.
What do we do now?
The experts at St. Mungo's agree that there is no conventional treatment for your condition. It is simply unheard of, I'm afraid. One healer recommended that we place a block on your magic, but I believe that would either kill you or turn you into a squib. He sighed, trying to contain his rising panic. The answers were never simple when he was involved.
Surely there's something we can do.
Well, an old Indian healer who consults at St. Mungo's knows of a ritual. It is unorthodox, shall we say, but it may be the only thing that can save your life.
Whatever it is, I'll do it. What kind of ritual is it?
It's a power-sharing ritual that was once used frequently in India.
Great.
It has fallen into
realizing
disuse
it now.
over the years, and to my knowledge, it has never been used in Britain.
Well?
It's a sex-based ritual, Mr. Potter. It was designed for use between husbands and wives. It allows you to give a portion of your magic to another person. There are some strict conditions, however. Harry's mouth dropped open at her words, and it took him a few moments to gather his wits.
Sex-based? What conditions?
There must be a state of mutual affection between you and your, partner. It will not work with strangers or mere acquaintances with whom you are friendly.
Is that all?
No. I'm afraid you will likely need...
No.
I'm afraid you will likely need to perform this ritual multiple times.
Damn.
The trouble is that it is dangerous to perform the ritual more than once per partner, and, well, given how much magic you need to lose, it may require several partners.
My God.
His head falling into his hands.
This will never work. I'm going to die.
Now, Mr. Potter, I'll hear none of that. This is likely the only treatment available to you, so be thankful that it exists. I'm sure there are plenty of young ladies willing to help you out. I suggest you speak to Miss Granger about this immediately. She will be able to help you create a list of potential partners.
You're joking.
I'm afraid not.
I know if that snort worked.
I don't know enough about your personal life to help. I will arrange for the ritual to take place, but you must locate willing witches on your own. Remember, it is imperative that the affection be mutual. That means you must already know the girl or woman and feel nothing but goodwill towards her. Harry swallowed heavily again.
Go.
He wasn't friendly with very many girls. Romance had been the last thing on his mind as he trained to face Voldemort.
He spent time with fucking Guinea.
Guinea? You said... That's your line.
You said it was used by husbands and wives. That doesn't mean I'll be marrying the witches, does it?
No, but since the witches will be gaining so much of your magic, they're likely to feel a certain fondness for the rest of their lives.
Damn.
He resisted the urge to swear. Fuck! Fuck! How he was able to find girls willing to go through with this. He was quickly developing a headache to match the pressure in his groin. His erection was straining once again against his underwear, unsatisfied with the release it had experienced earlier in the afternoon.
How long do I have?
It is best for the process to begin as soon as possible. I will give you a deadline of, say, 48 hours, and then we can commence with the ritual.
48 hours? Madam Pomfrey, I can't do this. I don't know anything about girls. I've barely spoken to half the girls in my year. I'm a virgin. For Merlin's sake.
The healer shrugged. Well, I dare say you won't be soon enough. Your partners need not be virgins themselves, and they may be of any age or power level, but you must find them soon, Mr. Potter. Time is of the essence. He rubbed his eyes.
This could only happen to me. How many?
Pardon?
How many girls? You said I need multiple partners.
She thought for a moment. I'd recommend at least 4 to start, and then we can analyze your core once again.
Oh, sorry. Fuck me.
Harry muttered, and Pomfrey arched an eyebrow at him. It may come to that, Mr. Potter, if you don't act quickly. Now go find Miss Granger. I'm afraid I must speak to the headmaster about this. Oh. A half hour later, Harry sat alone in the Gryffindor common room, trying to think of what to say to Hermione. He had been living at Hogwarts since the final battle. There was no way he would be returning to the Dursleys, and a handful of other students had remained at the castle as well. He had just asked Dobby, who's also dead, to summon Hermione from the library, and he expected her any minute now. His heart was hammering in his chest, and began to sweat at the nerves combined with his surging magic. His magic.
That McRibbed's doing something to me, too.
I'm feeling the same way. He was comfortable on the battlefield, but the past 2 years of training had done little for his social skills. He closed his eyes as Hermione opened the door to the common room and came inside. It was now or never. "You wanted to see me, Harry?" She asked curiously, and then she noticed the state of her best friend. "Merlin, what's wrong? You look terrible." Hermione had grown into her looks in the past 2 years, and though no one would call her a great beauty, she did occasionally get a surreptitious glance. She sat down next to Harry on the couch, almost in his lap, and her closeness did nothing to ease the strain of his erection.
I don't really know where to begin.
"How about the beginning?" grinned Hermione, trying to lighten his grim mood.
Right then, here goes.
For the next few minutes, Harry explained his increased power and recent symptoms to her, blushing madly all the while. "Thank you." He then recounted most of what Madame Pomfrey had told him, apologizing at the end for getting her involved in yet another of his insane problems. When he finished, Hermione started chuckling, then couldn't restrain herself from laughing outright. He blushed even harder at her response. "Oh, Harry," wiping tears of mirth from her eyes, "this can only happen to you. I'd say you were pranking me if I didn't know you were a terrible actor."
Well, thanks, I suppose.
"I'm sorry. I didn't mean to laugh. Really. This is serious." "Sirius Black. And you know that I'll help you however I can. You just sit tight for a few minutes.
Hi.
I want to speak to Madame Pomfrey." He nodded glumly and watched her back as she retreated to the door. It didn't escape his notice that she was still shaking with suppressed laughter. "Yes, I see you. Thank you. Thank you for showing up at this exact moment as we're reading Harry Potter erotic fan fiction."
Harry Potter erotic fan fiction.
When she returned a half hour later, Hermione was carrying a thick book and had a more serious expression on her face. "Right. Sorry about laughing earlier. You didn't tell me that you could die from this in a matter of days."
Must have slipped my mind.
"Humph," she responded, seating herself next to him again. She opened the book and spread it on her lap. "I spoke to Madame Pomfrey, and she retrieved a book of the ritual for me. We need to make a list of potential girls right away." "I know, Oh, sorry.
Oh, I know. It's just, I can't believe this is real."
"Like I said, Harry, only you," Hermione replied, shaking her head and looking at the book. "It says the ritual is rooted in affection. That doesn't require love, but it does mean that you have to like the girl who, partners with you. She has to like you as well, and it helps if you're sexually attracted to the other person, but it's not required. We need to be as thorough as possible. You start naming names, and I'll help you think them through. Age doesn't matter, but we should probably say no lower than 16. It was the 90s. She set aside the book and grabbed a quill and some parchment while Harry rubbed his forehead in thought. He furtively adjusted the uncomfortable erection in his pants, but Hermione caught the movement. "Is it, bothering you right now?" He glared at her in response. "Right," she said, color rising in her cheeks. "The list, then."
Well, at least we know not to include Ginny.
"It's Ginny." She snorted softly. "Yes, that's quite an easy call." Ginny Weasley was notorious for having attempted to beguile Harry's affection with the love potion during his 6th year. She had been found out and almost universally ostracized after.
Jesus Christ.
Ron had defended her actions to Hermione, and the potential relationship had died a sudden death as well.
Wow!
That's not like the book at all. Harry sat in silence for the next minute or so, lost in thought.
They killed her.
When
killed Ginny.
They killed Ginny. When he didn't immediately suggest any names, Hermione scolded him. "This is important, Harry. I can't help you if you don't give me something to work with." She, too, was on edge because it was clear that her name belonged at the top of the list. They had been friends for 7 years, and there was no one closer to him.
It's not exactly easy, Hermione. I'm supposed to make a list of all my friends and ask them if they want to shag? Bloody hell!
He moaned. His face, finding its way into his palms again. "I'm sorry," she said gently. "I know this is unpleasant for you. Other guys would do anything for something like this to happen to them, but you're just trying to be noble, just as I should expect by now." When he didn't respond, she continued. "We both know I'm going to be on the list, so I might as well be at the top. Now start naming names." Harry looked up at her.
"You would do this for me?"
She rolled her eyes. "Of course I would, you prat. It's not exactly how I imagined my first time to be, but I could do worse than sharing it with my best friend. Now come on, start talking." He sighed and leaned back, grimacing again at the tightness in his crotch.
Alright, what about...
An hour later, they had exhausted all possibilities, eliminating those girls who would never participate in such a thing or were already in serious relationships. The list of potential lovers for Harry consisted of only 5 girls. Hermione Granger, Luna Lovegood, Nymphadora Tonks, Pavarti Patil, and Fleur Delacour.
Who the fuck?
2 of which were absolutely already in relationships at this time.
Bro, so they ostracized Ginny, and Ron is never going to get with Hermione, dude.
But also...
There's going to be no Ron cuck.
Ginny should be on the list. Luna deserves to be on the list.
Well, sure.
But Tonks was already with Lupin at this time.
Lupin the Third?
No, Tonks is dead. Tonks dies in the battle for Hogwarts with Lupin. They both die tragically, and they already had a son. Harry's the godfather. So now he's gonna fuck her corpse. Great. Pavarti Patil is who he went to the prom with during Goblet of Fire, the Indian girl.
Okay.
And Fleur Delacour is Bill's wife.
Ah, fucking Bill?
The Frenchie, the blondie from Goblet of Fire.
Bro, it's been so long.
Okay. Hermione and Luna were obvious choices, as they were now his closest friends, along with Neville.
Right.
Tonks had been...
Wait, Neville?
Along with Neville. Close friends, is what he was saying.
He's
not going to fuck Neville. Oh. No, he's not. Tonks had been his trainer during the 6th year, and the two enjoyed an easy camaraderie with one another, which is true, but like I said, she was basically married to Lupin at this time. Given how much she liked to tease Harry, Hermione had no doubt that she would participate. The other choices were trickier. Harry had eventually made up with Pavarti after the Yule Ball disaster, and the beautiful Indian girl had become friendly with him and his group over the past 2 years. She often flirted with him, but she flirted with lots of people. Harry was fond of her, but he was uncertain whether she liked him well enough to participate in the ritual. I actually have a question. At this point in the time, Cedric is already dead, so why isn't Cho Chang on the list?
Cho Chang!
Yeah. Asian name. Hermione had bristled slightly at the choice of Fleur Delacour.
That name could be made up right now.
Whom she didn't know. It's true. That's the Asian chick's name. Who she did not like, but Harry had insisted that she belonged on the list because he wanted to bone her so hard. The stunningly beautiful Quarter Viola had fought with the Order during the war, spending most of the previous year at Hogwarts. She had dated Bill Weasley for a time, but had broken it off with him after she discovered what his sister had attempted to do to Harry, which is not true. Fleur had always treated him kindly, insisting that she owed him greatly for rescuing Gabrielle during the Triwizard Tournament, which is the little sister. They had eliminated quite a few of Harry's present and former classmates from the list of potentials. He was cordial with Susan Bones, who's also dead at this time. But she had been dating Neville for several months. He was likewise on good terms with the former Quidditch teammates Angelica, Alicia, and Katie, who all deserved to be on the list as well. But he hadn't seen any of the girls in over a year because they were already graduated.
I love that you're getting frustrated.
This is making me so upset. He didn't think they met the conditions of mutual affection. They were on a sports team together for 4 fucking years. Of course
that's
they
right. Your what's-his-name's Patronus, and his Patronus is you coming out explaining Harry Potter lore.
Yeah, Tom Bombadil.
Yeah.
If the girls on the final list didn't want to participate, he wasn't sure what he could do. Fuck McGonagall? Duh.
Damn, that bitch probably knows, too.
She unfortunately just passed away in real life,
I know.
but let's be honest. Okay, Harry, said Hermione, eyeing the list. I think this is the best we can do. You need to write some letters right away and see if the girls will come for a meeting at Hogwarts tomorrow. It's probably best not to say too much in the letter. I can help you write it if you want. He nodded, then grimaced.
That's fine. Let's do it a little later. I need to take care of something first.
Oh, she said, catching on after a moment's confusion. She cleared her throat. You need to,
Really?
relieve yourself first, I suppose. Is it really that bad? He sighed and closed his eyes.
Ooh.
He simply couldn't believe he was talking to Hermione about his erection.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It won't take long. And then we can write the letters.
He stood and made it halfway across the room before she hesitantly spoke his name. Harry?
Yeah?
There were a few seconds of silence, and he turned to look at her. She was staring at the floor between them. Can I watch? She asked uncertainly. Harry's heart suddenly threatened to beat out of his chest.
Say what?
I mean, I know it's a very, personal thing. I just thought that, well, I don't really have any experience with this, and it might be, educational. I'll be seeing all of you later, and it might make things less awkward, and he held up his hand to stop Hermione's ramblings.
Are you bloody serious?
Well, yes. He shook his head, hardly able to believe his ears.
Part of me wants
You
to
bloody serious.
Yeah, I wanna keep-
You fucking serious,
Yeah,
mate.
I'm like, in erection form, he becomes very cockney.
Very good.
You want
Cockney.
to come upstairs and watch me toss one off? That is what you're saying?
She stuttered, her face reddening. I just thought, since we would have to do more later, that you wouldn't mind if I observed how everything works. I've never seen a boy naked, Harry, except in a book, and I thought that...
Sweet fucking Madeline. I can't believe this is happening to me.
He looked at her for a few seconds and shrugged.
Come on, then.
He turned and made his way slowly up the stairs, while Hermione remained rooted to the spot. When his words finally sank in, she hurried to follow him.
Well, I even put the break in at that point.
Oh.
You sure about this?
Harry asked, sitting at the edge of his bed. She nodded meekly and tucked a bushy strand of hair behind her ear. Snorting again in disbelief, he stood and slowly disrobed. When he was down to nothing but his boxers, he looked at her again.
Last chance to bail out.
No, go ahead, she said breathlessly, her eyes never leaving the huge bulge in Harry's boxers. He pulled the boxers off quickly and kicked them onto the bed. They landed next to Hermione, and she didn't notice. Her eyes were locked on his fully erect
yes!
cock, pointing upwards and bouncing slightly as he moved.
Damn.
He spread his hands outwards in a gesture of surrender.
That's old, mate.
Wow, she whispered. That's... wow. He crossed his arms over his chest and smiled smugly at her.
Hermione Granger, at a loss for words? Now I've seen everything.
Her next words wiped the smile off his face. Is that as big as it gets?
Yeah, I know it's not that big, but...
That's not what I meant, Harry, she huffed, coming out of her stupor. It looks plenty big to me. He chuckled nervously.
Well then, this is as big as it gets.
His eyes widened as she pulled her wand from her robes and pointed it at his penis. He hastily moved to cover himself with his hands.
What the bloody hell are you doing?
Oh, she said, smiling sheepishly. Sorry, I was just, curious. May I do something? He nodded hesitantly, his eyes never leaving Hermione's wand. Engorgio. She moved closer to him and, to his shock, placed her wand at the tip of his penis and muttered something under her breath. He shivered as she moved the tip of the wand slowly down the shaft, stopping at the patch of black hair at its base. He wondered what on earth she was doing. She raised her wand and flicked it, leaving a number in the air. 6.4 inches, she mused aloud. That's slightly above average, I believe.
Okay.
Harry responded, still in shock that Hermione had been so bold. He should have known, he supposed, that her intellectual curiosity would overwhelm her in a situation like this one. She returned her wand to her robes and sat back down on the bed, placing her hands on her knees. Sorry if I embarrassed you. I was curious. Please proceed. Harry snorted at his best friend. It felt like they had entered some sort of alternate reality, and he suspected she would be quite so calm if he was staring at her nude body.
Oh, is this me? Okay. Right, I'm just Malin. Can't believe I'm doing it. Fuck it. Hey, I'm losing my cockney. Alright, what's all this then? I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm just going to close my eyes so I don't see you, alright?
She swallowed and nodded. Just pretend I'm not here. I don't want to make you
A
uncomfortable.
little late for that.
He grabbed a clean sock from his trunk and moved it to the edge
Jesus
of the bed.
Christ.
He was within 3 feet of her, giving her an open view of what was happening. He closed his eyes, trying to ignore her presence, and began stroking. Light at first, his grip hardened as he applied more pressure to his cock. Wanting the awkward scene to be over as soon as possible, the pressure building in his loins was calling out for release, and he longed for the sensation of relief that would follow even more than he longed for the sensation of orgasm. After 30 seconds of stroking, he nearly jumped out of his skin when he felt something brush the tip of his penis. He opened his eyes and looked at Hermione questioningly. She was examining a glistening drop of pre-cum on the tip of her finger. When she noticed his attention, she blushed to the roots of her hair. Sorry, it was about to... sorry. Harry stared at her amazed at what was happening in his dorm room.
No worries.
She met his eyes and coughed nervously. I didn't mean to touch you. I was just curious. How long does it usually take?
Not long now. Just a couple minutes. When I'm really pent up.
She nodded and crossed her arms over her chest, ready for the show to continue. He closed his eyes and began stroking himself again, moving rhythmically for almost a minute. His pace increased and his breathing became shallow as he felt orgasm approaching. He suddenly stopped when he heard Hermione move closer to him. He opened his eyes and saw that her face was slightly flushed as she leaned in closer for a better look. He raised an eyebrow and she blushed again when she met his eyes. Sorry, I just wanted to see what happened. Were you about to finish? Harry sighed. This was simultaneously the strangest and most erotic experience of his life, and as mortified as he was also turned on by the thought of Hermione watching him masturbate. He had occasionally fantasized about just such a scenario, but he had never imagined it becoming real.
I was. But you seem intent on interrupting me. Did you want to help?
He had asked the question
Cockney's just gone
glibly,
Australian.
expecting her to
Ghibli.
scold him for his impertinence. Instead, she cleared her throat. Would you, mind if I did? His penis answered for him, throbbing at the thought of her assistance. She was his best friend, but she was also a girl staring at his cock.
Jesus Christ.
His heart started racing.
You really want to?
Yes, she said, not bothering to justify her answer with an excuse.
Okay then.
She repositioned herself on the
Come
bed
on.
and reached forward hesitantly with her wand. Harry shivered when she made contact.
Her hand, dude.
Her hand.
Oh,
His wand.
she's gonna sound him.
I hope so. She ran her with her wand. She ran her index finger along the length of him, testing his texture and feel of his skin. She made small swirls around his engorged head, fascinated at the pulse it made in response. Your skin is so soft, she muttered.
Cool.
And he nearly moaned at her finger, lightly exploring the underside of his cock. He exhaled when she gripped his balls lightly in her hand. Exploring their weight and texture, she gave him a slight squeeze, and Harry closed his eyes to savor the feeling. She finally wrapped her hand around his cock, and he moaned in relief. She squeezed him firmly, testing his hardness. Her hand felt so soft compared to his. She looked up at him, then slowly moved her hand up and down his length, almost teasing him with her gentleness. It felt to him as if her fingers were barely making contact with his skin. The sensation was maddening. Am I doing it right?
Darling, yes.
Oh, roll.
Don't stop. Grip me harder.
Hermione obeyed and stroked him in earnest, her grip tightening and her tempo increasing. He panted at her hand, moving closer to his throbbing head, concentrating most of her friction there. It wasn't long before he was ready to explode. She looked up at him when his abdominal muscles contracted. Go ahead, you asked for this.
I know. Oh, boy. I'm about to come. Please don't stop.
He held out his sock before him, but 3 strokes later, Harry's cock
there.
twitched in her hand, and he shot forcefully into the waiting sock.
Oh.
6 times he drilled it, until its soaked edge began spilling his cum onto the bed. She continued stroking as his release pulsed slowly out, dropping onto the bedspread and sliding down his cock to coat her hand. When he finally opened his eyes, she stopped tugging and looked at him inquisitively. "Did that feel good?" she asked, slightly out of breath.
Merlin, yes.
He sighed.
So good, you wouldn't understand. It's such a relief. Well, I mean, obviously, but it's more than that. It releases my magic somehow.
My magic.
My magic.
Hermione nodded in understanding and opened her hand, examining the white fluid that coated her fingers. She raised them to her nose and sniffed, and Harry laughed at her. She blushed. "What? I'm curious. It smells like Muggle bleach, and it's warm." He shrugged.
I suppose I can't say that I've studied the matter.
She stuck out her tongue at him and drew her wand with her left hand. I thought she was gonna fucking taste it. I was ready to fucking close this program.
It's coming.
She deftly scourgified her hand, then did likewise for Harry's dripping sock and the wet bedspread. I think that means she, cleaned it up.
Oh, okay.
"Well, that was interesting," she said matter-of-factly, giving him a shy smile. "I can't believe I just did that." Harry grinned at her, relaxed now that he had spent himself.
I can't believe you did either, but I'm not complaining. Feel free to experiment on me whenever you'd like.
She smiled at his sincerity. "I'm sorry if I embarrassed you. I just wondered what... well, you know. I suppose we'll have to do a lot more than that very soon."
True.
He agreed, not quite knowing how to discuss such a thing with his best friend.
I guess we should get started on those letters, huh?
She nodded, but Harry noticed that she was staring at his cock again. Despite his orgasm, it was still standing at attention. "Isn't it supposed to get smaller now?"
Well, yeah, it's supposed to, but it stays hard pretty much all the time now. Just one of the symptoms of my condition. Madame Pomfrey said... Oh, whoops.
That's fine.
It's bloody uncomfortable, actually.
He was a little surprised that he no longer felt embarrassed to be nude in front of Hermione. "I bet," she replied, getting to her feet. "All right, Harry. Let's get started on those letters. We need to find you some girls to shag."
Damn! Cue the fucking opening to CSI Miami.
To fucking 9 chapters of Harry Potter erotic fan fiction.
Wait, go up. Go all the way up for me. Look at that dog. Standing on burgers.
Standing on some burgers.
Scroll all the way down. I want to get to a point. Let's get a fuck point going here. You know what? I don't care anymore. He fucks Hermione in the next chapter, everyone. Sorry, spoiler alert. I think so.
No, it's Pavardi.
Oh, shit.
I think he's fingering Pavardi right now.
Oh, damn. It could only happen to Harry. Read it.
Yeah, it's Pavardi. Pavardi is chapter 2.
You know what? Hermione's probably the last chapter. Because it's going to end with, him and her being lovers or something.
Hermione. Luna.
Damn.
This is Madame Pomfrey explaining it to everyone.
Yeah.
Tonks is there making jokes.
Tonks. Oi, it's me, Tonk.
Fleur released him from her mouth, and she pointed him slightly downward towards her chest and stroked him with vigor. He panted as an orgasm overtook him. Yeah.
Hell yeah, Harry.
So he just finished all over Floor's chest. Very cool. Raised herself slightly off his hips. So Floor's just fucking him now. That's pretty cool. It looks like Hermione is a little upset that Harry
She's
did it with Floor
fuck other
first.
chicks.
Yeah, kinda.
Dude, of course. He's just
Oh,
become...
okay. Tonks and Harry were just hanging out, but now Dobby's there making fun of them.
Why is Dobby there?
Exactly. He sucked her clit greedily. That's what stood out to me.
Hell yeah, dude.
I'm trying to figure out who that was, though. Yeah, he's saying, do I get to see the real you now? She's been appearing as other people to make him feel more comfortable. Don't care. Fuck me, Tonks whispered.
Hell, dude. This shit gets fucking hot.
Yep.
That was just chapter 4.
That was chapter 4. Alright, chapter 5.
When does he fuck Madame Pomfrey?
That's...
Oh, man, your last story involved a horny wizard.
A couple of horny magicians, but nothing this horny.
Yeah.
What's real fucked up about the story I read with Where Am I is it was about like a 50-year-old man lusting after like a 17-year-old boy.
Jesus Christ.
No, but the 17-year-old boy was like Fae, so he was like 300 years old. He just appeared to be.
Yes, the
It was one of
lolly
those-
thing.
Yeah. You understood immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's a line from Luna. She cleared her throat, licked her lips in exaggerated fashion, and narrowed her eyes at him. Are you ready to stick your big fat cock in my tight little pussy? Harry blinked in shock.
Whoa!
What? He asked hoarsely. Are you ready to fuck me like the little slut I am, Harry Potter?
Holy shit!
Yeah, Luna was always going to be the freak. Hermione apparently shaved her pubes for the occasion.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. Good for her.
He thrust into her again, twisting as she pushed.
Oh,
damn! It's Pavarti and Tonks.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah,
so now
of course.
it's two at the same time, of course. Returning his attention to Tonks's pussy, Pavarti saw that he was about to come and plunged her left middle finger into his ass. Very, very cool. Apparently, Hermione reads a lot of smut in her free time, and Pavarti's calling her out on it.
I'm not surprised at this point.
Apparently, Harry is putting on the invisibility cloak, except the only thing that's sticking out of it is his penis.
Now that's the chapter I wish we read. Holy shit. I love that concept.
Apparently, they're also doing it in public. They're in the Great Hall right now while everyone is eating dinner, and
Yeah, that makes the most
apparently
sense.
someone is just sitting on Harry's face while they're eating dinner. Apparently, Harry and Hermione are about to do it in the library, her favorite place.
Of course.
He used the word pole-axed to describe what he's doing to her, which is very cool. Very cool. Give it to me, Harry. I'll never let go. Very cool. Last chapter.
I thought that was the last
No,
chapter.
that was chapter 8.
Oh, he's gonna pump it in there.
Alright, so apparently they fell asleep in bed together. Where's Ron during all... Oh, yeah, they're away during holiday. That was the point, is that the Weasleys are gone. So
Ginny was
Ron's not
ostracized.
watching this. Well, she's also away for the holidays, because this is his sister.
And-
So. Apparently he's only partially erect when visiting Pomfrey this time, so she says it's working.
Good for him. I'm glad to see him improving.
Apparently now he's getting really cocky, and I do mean that, no pun intended. He's now talking about masturbating in front of Pomfrey to give her a sample this time.
Damn, my dude changed.
He has. He got his dick wet a couple times, and now he's fucking a different character.
This is sad. It's sad how he changed.
Okay, so apparently his number's gone down. It's still over 5,000, but
Whoa!
It's no longer life-threatening. Oh no. Harry, you are going to be a papa. The blood rushed from Harry's face as her words sank in. He stared at her belly in shock. Fleur's allure intensified with what felt like pure joy. He vaguely registered the flash of a camera, but his more immediate concern was trying to remain standing. What? He whispered. She smiled and pulled his hand back to her little bump. My healer tells me that your magic was so potent that we overpowered the ritual. She is growing very quickly. Isn't that great news? Oh, jeez. Oh, okay, it was just a joke. apparently Tonks wanted to piss Hermione off by claiming that Fleur was going to have a baby, and it worked. Apparently they're actually celebrating his birthday, and they're actually just giving him...
Head?
presents. Like, Hermione gave him a book, Fleur gave him some magical coins. Apparently, Hermione is taking on the title as Harry Potter's head mistress. Luna's gonna watch Tonks bang Fleur, but Tonks is gonna turn into Professor McGonagall to do it. And then Hermione is getting pulled away by Parvati, and apparently they're all just gonna start fucking each other.
Nice.
Oh, Jesus. Harry rubbed his brow in agitation. Let's be clear, Madame Pomfrey. You're saying that you want me to have sex with Professor McGonagall. Well, yes, this is a rather important part of the ritual. He took a deep breath to calm himself. Did Tonks put you up to this? This is a prank, right? But Pomfrey wasn't laughing. Minerva's health, her career, and future are at stake. Harry cracked a smile. Holy shit. Merlin, I have to figure out a way to seduce Professor McGonagall, he said in awe. Well, that certainly went places. Oh, this episode is going to be a nightmare to edit.
Bro, you kept reading it. We could have stopped at chapter 1.
I did stop at chapter 1. I'm glad I didn't spend the rest of the time reading that, but holy shit, guys. That's a lot of Harry Potter smut right there. And it was the top one on Reddit. It was the most recommended one on Reddit, so I'm glad we touched it. For you, my friend, glad we touched it for you.
I'm still surprised there's no serious black
Oh,
penetration.
there totally is somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
It exists. But yeah. I'm going to switch gears really fucking quickly now.
Oh,
because
shit.
I'm going to have to cut, like, probably half an hour out of that. Which is fine. Because we're still going to be most likely under 2 hours. Like I said, this isn't a very long story.
Better not be. Also kill you.
One of your favorite episodes that we recorded together, other than the Harry Potter erotic fan fiction with frowns, obviously, was when we went over, like, haunted stuff near us, haunted stuff in the country, and haunted stuff, like, in every state.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I remember that as being, like, one of the first, like, experimental episodes that we did.
You're experimental.
I've experimented a lot.
This is the most experimental episode now.
Reading Harry Potter erotic fan fiction.
Hell yeah, dog.
So when I came across a title that said, I live in a boring town with a famous haunted house, I said, yeah, it kind of sounds like us a little bit.
We got more McRibbed, baby!
I would fucking die if someone walked in with McRibbed right now. You calling up your friend trying to get the McRib order? Alright, so this is a story from No Sleep. I live in a boring town with a famous haunted house. Not to be mistaken with any of the Harry Potter erotic fan fiction we just
Harry
read.
Potter erotic fan fiction. Let's go.
I live in a small, unexciting town in western New York.
Harry Potter did too.
It's a peaceful place.
He fucked them all.
I always say, everybody knows everybody. That's a little bit of an exaggeration.
Wow.
It's more like, if I go to one gas station in town, I'll probably run into a few people I know, which is, the case around here. I'm not going to use my real name because the story implicates me for breaking and entering. Good old B&E. Let's call me Tommy and my friend Zach.
Harry. Oh.
First, a little backstory.
Damn.
There isn't much special or notable about our small town. It's quiet. It's a low-income area. Harry Potter's a high-income area.
Woo!
Kids around here kind of have to make their own fun, like their own Harry Potter erotic fanfiction.
That's a shame.
That usually meant partying, jumping off of bridges into the river,
Sinful, dude.
having fires, playing football,
Okay.
or going to the haunted house.
Oh.
The haunted house is on a back road in town. It's a driving distance from anywhere. It's kind of a tradition for kids in town to go there. The place was abandoned at the time. The few times it was locked, it was easy to get in. The story of the house is that back in the 70s, a family moved to town and into the house. The kids went to school with my parents. The family claimed to have heard all sorts of noises in the night. The mother claimed to have heard chanting coming from the woods behind the house. and they said that certain rooms in the house would randomly become ice cold. Bugs swarmed a specific window of the house. What is this, fucking Amityville?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
That's New York.
You're talking about New York? Where concrete jungles and trees are made of? I don't know.
Alicia Keys?
Who?
Isn't that Alicia Keys?
Keys to my house.
Keys to my Harry Potter fanfic heart. There were rumors of a native burial ground. I've never been able to find solid proof of that.
Oh,
but there are
sorry.
several...
Sip time. Remember when we did that ASMR bit?
There were rumors of a native burial ground. I've never been able to find solid proof of that, but there are several reservations nearby. The family said that after a while they would hear clear voices and eventually start seeing shadow people around the house. Eventually, a local priest was brought in to perform an exorcism, and he actually performed a cleansing. From what I've gathered, an exorcism is on a person and a cleansing is done on a place or a structure. People still like to say there was an exorcism done there, but I guess it's more grabby. Crazy stuff nonetheless for our little town.
Little town.
I've heard stories from friends who claim to have seen ghosts there, but I never believed them. My mom told me that a kid went missing around there when she was in school, but I'm pretty sure she was just trying to scare me. Everybody has a story about the haunted house. I'm a skeptic. I can't help it. Ghost stories interest me, but I have a very hard time believing them.
I'm an alpha. You are a beta.
I have to admit that the place is creepy, though.
You were reading it. Like,
I hate it
what's
so
his
much.
name?
I know.
Fucking, Ben Shapiro. You're like, I'm a skeptic.
It had boarded up windows, chipped up white paint, and one eerie looking tree out front.
There we go.
The tree is referred to as the hanging tree because of stories of multiple people using the tree to commit suicide. Only one of those cases... God damn it. Only one of those cases is documented. Behind the house was a forest. Most of the town is. Across from the house is a big cornfield leading to more woods. There is quite a bit of space between houses on the road. It would be a nice place to live for someone who values privacy, at least before it became locally famous. I had been up there. Do you want to take over?
No, keep going.
I had been up there with a handful of times, usually after a night of partying, and the party would be winding down and a handful of us wouldn't want to end the night. Someone would suggest going to the haunted house and we'd all head up there. The first few times I went were pretty uneventful. If there were creepy noises, it would be hard to hear them over the sound of the kids trying to scare each other. People I was with would claim to see something move, but I would chalk it up to ghosts on the brain. It always seemed to me that people started seeing ghosts right after watching a scary movie. I also thought some of them were just full of shit. I never saw any ghosts nor ghouls myself. $10. I think the creepiest thing that happened up there was a neighbor that snuck up and scared the hell out of us. We were in the house looking out the front windows when we saw this guy seemingly pop out of nowhere. Zach was at the car when we saw someone walking up behind him, and it turned out that he was looking for his dog. He knew exactly what we were doing and gave us a little smirk when he left. It's nice when folks let kids be kids instead of calling the cops on some harmless teenagers. I was usually more worried about the cops than ghosts. The place was abandoned throughout my high school years, but cops would arrest people for trespassing. Cops were not a big problem in our small town. It's actually one of the major benefits. But people always claimed that there were cameras on the property to catch trespassers. I never saw them, but didn't want to take chances. Any of us would be easily identified by most people in town if we were caught on video. We never ended up having issues with the cops, though. So visits to the house were a kind of tradition for us. We would go maybe once or twice a year. Or whenever the mood struck, I guess. I never saw anything I would consider supernatural. It was just a little creepy to be in the house, but I saw no ghosts. Now, in my early 20s, my childhood friend Zach, was visiting home from college.
Oh.
FK.
In the coffee.
I did not attend college.
Fuck.
That is unimportant, though. I went over to his mom's house and we hung out and had some beers, maybe a few too many beers. His mom's house was close to the haunted house. It was 2 quick turns and you're there. It would be a long walk, but I would consider it walking distance. As we drank, we got talking about the haunted house with his mom. and she was a big-time believer in ghosts. Every time she watched a scary movie when I was over at his house, she'd start noticing how haunted her house supposedly was. It was a little over the top, if you ask me. Before long, we ran out of beer. We had asked her to give us a ride to the store since she wasn't drinking, and she took us to the store a town over. On the way back, she started talking about the house again. I could tell she was getting excited. She mentioned that she wanted to camp out on or near the property at some point. Me and Zach took it as a hypothetical and said,
"Oh yeah, that would be cool."
A few minutes later, we were pulling up to the house. As soon as we were pulling into the driveway, a man came out to the car. Zach's mom explained that she wanted to talk to someone about camping there, and the guy said he couldn't arrange it at the time. He had purchased the house and had paranormal investigators there. This annoyed me. The guy started giving tours and did little group visits for Halloween. It was just kinda lame. The house had been this spooky place that local kids would visit for fun, and half the fun of it was doing something you weren't supposed to be doing. Now it was going to be some dumb, cheesy attraction. It was creepier that there was always a small group of us there, and now there's going to be tour groups and IDK. I just found the whole thing to be really lame. It did bring more notoriety to the house, but it would never be the same for the next generation of star kids.
Yeah, what's the inserted word supposed to be?
Fucking kids!
Yeah. Okay.
Zach's mom decided to ask the neighbors about camping on their property, which, okay, I guess. I mean, I guess the property lines touched. I don't know if she was really on a ghost kick. We indulged her mainly because she let us drink in the car. There were a few houses on the same road as the haunted house, and she stopped at the closest place. There was a woman working out front when we pulled up, and Zach's mom explained the camping thing, and the woman said no. She looked irritated. I wonder how many people stopped there asking about the house. She said that we couldn't camp in her yard, and I was pretty embarrassed because, well, his mom asked if we could camp in her yard. She drove to the neighbor on the other side. This is a stupid story.
Yeah, this is interesting.
She drove to the neighbor on the other side of the house next, and she said that it would be the last place we would try. It would have been easy to miss. There was a dirt driveway between some trees that led to a small house. It was far enough away from the haunted house that we couldn't see it from the driveway, and we had scary stuff on the brain, so when we saw a handful of beat-up old vehicles in the driveway without plates, we all got a little creeped out. Nonetheless, we walked up to the front door and knocked. There were lights on inside, and we could just barely hear music, but nobody answered. We knocked a few more times and waited, but nobody answered. I still don't know which one of us opened the door, but Zach and I both walked in. I'll never forget the music. It was the creepiest music that could have possibly been playing. It was really old-timey music. I'd seen horror movies with the same style of music, and we joked about walking into the start of a horror movie, and after a few moments inside, we went outside and back to the car. Well, that was quick. We immediately started asking each other why we opened the door. We both swore that the other one did it. It was probably the alcohol, but even moments after going in, neither of us could really remember the thought process of letting ourselves into a stranger's house. Sure, we had done it at the haunted house, but this was different. Someone clearly lived there, and from outside it seemed like someone was home. We were all a little creeped out, but that's what we were looking for, I guess. After a minute or two, we decided to go back in. I don't know why, I'll never understand why, but we went back in. The terrifyingly eerie music was still playing on a little clock radio by the door. The living room looked normal enough for the most part. The weirdest thing was across from the only couch. There was a black and white drawing, or painting, I guess, of an old man.
Old man?
It was all black and white aside from a red line across the cheek with red dripping from it. Jesus Christ, it's like Old Man Jeff. It looked like a cut on his face. The couch was the only furniture in the living room. The painting was where I would expect a TV to be.
Is this Jeff the Killer?
The place wasn't very big. It was like a cottage, or a cabin, kind of.
Jeff the Killer would live in a cottage or a cabin.
We started looking through the rest of the place, and looking back, I'm surprised that I was less anxious about it. We worried about cops at the haunted house, but someone lived there. They could come back any minute to find us waltzing around their home. We started in the kitchen. Nothing at all weird. From the contents of the fridge, it looked like a bachelor or some sort lived there. Nothing creepy.
Okay, wait. They're back in his house, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing creepy or scary. I found a bedroom. It was almost completely empty other than a bed with no blankets, pillows, or sheets. It's just a twin mattress on a frame. The only other thing in the room was a dresser, and I looked through the drawers, and they were all completely empty other than the top drawer, and the only thing in the top drawer was an unopened pack of boys' underwear. Whitey-tighties. I found that odd. Shortly after that, Zach and his mom started talking about how creepy it all was. They still thought something paranormal or supernatural was going on.
They're just in a random person's house.
They're in a random person's house.
Just walking through the house.
Just walking through the house.
Okay.
We looked around the side of the house to find a side porch. It was covered with jugs of water. They found that creepy, but I really didn't. It was basically a cabin in the woods. There were lots of reasons to need clean water. We all looked around for a while, not at all concerned that the owner of the place would return, and after the fact, me and Zach always talked about how weird it was that we weren't more nervous of getting caught. I blame the booze. Although I would normally be way more paranoid in a situation like that, regardless of my blood alcohol level, we didn't find much more interesting until I went back inside and looked on the shelves. There were a handful of tapes, maybe 15 to 20 of those blank tapes you record stuff on. I picked one up to see what it said, and the only thing on it was a name. Billy! I looked at another one. Same thing. Dylan! One after another.
Dylan.
Dylan, you son of a bitch. Every single tape on the shelf had a boy's name written on it. Nothing else. I asked Zach's mom if she ever had a VCR. I couldn't read that at some point. It really should have been in all caps.
Yeah.
At this point, VCRs were obsolete, but some people still had one lying around, and she told me I couldn't take any of the tapes. I figured she just didn't want me stealing from someone, because B&Es are not just as bad.
Yeah.
Then she went on to say that if I took something from somewhere haunted, that the ghosts would follow you home. I had indulged her enough to that point. Ghosts weren't the horror I was worried about. I told her that I would put the tape back. When really, I slid the tape in my pants and grabbed something else out of spite, I guess. Oh, this is gonna get bad, isn't it? I don't want to see what's on the tape. It was a little standing frame with a Bible verse in it. I didn't read it closely before I snagged it. I don't know why I took it. We didn't find anything else interesting after that. We left, after exploring the house for what felt like an hour, and we mentioned over and over to each other just how weird it was that we strolled in and hung out for a while as if we weren't breaking and entering. Him and his mom went on about ghosts while I attempted to provide reasonable explanations for everything. Everything but the tapes. The tapes bothered me. What could they be? The birth of some grandchildren? Piano recitals? I don't know. Harry Potter's birthday party? We went back to Zach's mom's house where we drank some beer and continued talking about the house.
Beers?
And we talked about how each of us claimed the other one was the one who opened the door. And he talked about the haunted house and the stories he had heard about the land.
Is it a haunted house or haunted land? Haunted tapes? I never knew hauntings were contagious. There are a lot of logic leaps in there.
Then I showed him the little frame with the Bible verse.
Get it out of here!
I laughed, but he was dead serious. We walked outside where he insisted we toss it into the woods outside of his mom's property line.
Yeah, just steal it and then throw it away.
I found it silly, but whatever. As we got to a spot that he deemed far enough away that the haunting couldn't reach him, apparently ghosts don't cross property lines. Maybe that's why they're always so pissed off that someone's in their house. They're strongly against trespassing. I read the verse.
For it is from within, out of a person's heart, the evil thoughts come. Sexual immorality.
Harry Potter fanfic.
Harry Potter fan fiction. Theft, murder, adultery, greed, malice, deceit, lewdness, envy, slander, arrogance, and folly. What a weird thing to have displayed in your living room.
I thought. Zach got even more freaked out than he already was, and I threw it in the woods off of their property. Part of me really wanted to go back after he fell asleep to find it so I could leave it somewhere he would find it. It would have been a great prank, though I have to admit I wasn't in a hurry to go into those woods alone at night. I kept the tape a secret, so they didn't make me throw it back into the woods. The next day I returned home and I wasn't sure what to do with the tape, and I searched high and low but couldn't find my old VCR. It must have been in storage. I worried about what was on the tape, though. Every time I thought about it, a Criminal Minds episode played in my head. I wonder if it was just spooky stuff on the brain, and I always believed that there was a reasonable explanation for everything. I was sure that this was the case with the tape. After another day, my paranoia was getting the best of me. I bet I could go find a VCR right now with no trouble, but of course when I needed one there was no chance. I didn't exactly know what to do with the tape, so I decided to just drop it off at the police station. There was a police station a town over. It was a very small station. I waited until the middle of the night and headed over there, and I waited until I couldn't see anyone, and I ran over and dropped the tape on the front steps. Then I took off into the woods through a clearing to where I had parked the car. I'd gotten out of there without them seeing me. I'm just afraid of cops, whether or not I did something wrong. I mean, I did break in. If the tapes are the births of someone's kid, then I'm the only one who committed a crime. I felt a little silly on the way home. I was sure that there was nothing sinister on the tapes. I just had a spooky stuff on the brain. There's a reasonable explanation for everything. The very next morning, there was a knock on my door, and it was the police. They found my fingerprints on the tape. I had one or two very minor, totally not a big deal priors. Funny they didn't break out the CSI shit when my house got robbed, but that's another story. They asked me where I found the tape, and I was hesitant to tell them that I broke into someone's house.
Why? What's on it? I didn't have a VCR to watch it.
There was a long pause.
It's, among other things, the torture and execution of a young boy.
Yeah.
You don't need any more details than that. You don't want to know. You're lucky you didn't watch it.
The officer said in a somber tone. His eyes welled and a tear ran down his cheek. Holy shit. My heart sank, and there's a reasonable explanation for everything. Sometimes that explanation is the humans are capable of evil. I told the cops about us going to the house and where it was, and the two of them headed to the house while one stayed and continued questioning me. He told me that the boy in the video appeared to be a boy who had gone missing in the Buffalo area 10 years ago. He wanted to talk to Zach, and I didn't want to be alone, so he followed me to his mom's house, and Zach's mom was out of town visiting a guy she'd been seeing. Zach was clearly shaken. I called him and told him what was going on before we went up there. The cop questioned him for a while as I paced back and forth in the kitchen, and after a while another cop came to the house. He'd come from the cabin, and he asked to speak to the other officer in private, but we argued with them until he agreed to loop us in. The unfortunate officers watching the rest of the tapes, everyone was the same. Each one documented the captivity, torture, sexual abuse, and eventual murder of a boy. They immediately were able to identify two of them. They both disappeared in cities that were an hour's drive away. The cops theorized that they evaded detection by taking the boys to a quiet cabin in a quiet town far away from the abduction sites. The cabin had generators for power. There was a setup to collect and purify rain. The culprit did everything possible to stay off the grid. The cops had talked to the closest few neighbors, and none of them knew anything about whoever was staying there. They didn't know much about each other, for that matter. They lived in the middle of nowhere because they valued their privacy. Unfortunately, so did the killer. As the days went on, we waited at Zach's mom's with the officers, and every so often they would get an update from the police at the cabin. They hadn't found the guy or any evidence of who he was until they watched the last video. The cops on the scene told the cops at Zach's place that the killer could be seen for a quick second at the end of the video. They began circulating the blurry image, and the cops asked us if we knew who it was. At first, I didn't recognize him, but after a minute, it hit me. I felt sick. We had both seen him. All those years ago, in front of the haunted house, I thought about that night. We'd all gone up in the car, and Zach was the only one outside. The guy probably thought he was alone. I can't help but think about what would have happened if we all didn't walk outside when we did. Would he have attacked Zach? Would he have been able to overpower him? I mean, we could have prevented. We told the cops the story about him walking up to Zach, claiming he was looking for his dog, and they said that it was a common ruse. They think he would have asked Zach to help him look and wait for a chance to subdue him. And I felt Zach, and I felt
Zach that he was sick.
I felt sick, but Zach was sick. He puked all over the floor as he tried to run to the sink, and I tried to calm him down, but there was nothing I could do. After an hour or so, Zach calmed down a bit, and he was still very shaken, but able to relax a little. The cops questioned us off and on, and we didn't know who the guy was, though. The night was the only time either of us could recall seeing him, and none of the cops recognized him. It was a...
everybody knows everybody.
type of town, so the guy must have kept a very low profile. Zach made some pizza rolls.
Hell yeah!
Fuck yeah, dude. For us and the cops.
Hell yeah!
Hell yeah, son. He didn't have any adult food. Wait, pizza rolls don't count as adult food?
Bro.
Really?
Bro.
Alright. The cops asked us to go through the story again, so we did. We went through it again over lemonade and pizza rolls, which was an odd combination. We had calmed down a bit. Yeah, no. The cops assured us that they would find the guy. They said he wouldn't attack right now out of fear of getting caught, that he would lay low, and they asked us if we wanted to stick around. I appreciated the fact that they asked. I was never very fond of the police. I always considered them my only prejudice, and these guys were decent. It felt better having them there. We weren't really worried about the guy finding us. We figured he was long gone. We were just shooketh. We told them that they could leave, though. There wasn't much they could do at Zach's mom's house. After they left, we sat in silence for a few minutes.
Crying
I think we were
after
both
losing our new best friends.
I think we were both having trouble processing the whole ordeal. Finally, Zach broke the silence.
I think we could use a drink. I could use a drink.
We went up to the bedroom before he usually had something or other in his liquor cabinet. He had a cheap vodka. He poured 2 shots, and we hadn't said much since the cop left. Zach raised his glass like he was toasting and said,
"Here's a shot."
We did the shot and headed back downstairs. We sat back down on the couch, exhausted. We were starting to calm down, and Zach poured some vodka into the glasses of lemonade, and we drank and tried to talk about something other than what had happened, and it was nice for a few minutes. Zach decided to call his mom, and he couldn't find his phone, so I helped him look for it. They didn't have a house phone up since they all had cell phones. I soon realized that I couldn't find mine either, and we searched the house up and down. We checked upstairs in his room, under the couch cushions, even the fridge for some reason, and nothing. We all looked around for a little longer. On the coffee table, in the middle of a bunch of junk mail and clutter, was a little frame with a Bible verse in it, and the sight of it sent shivers up our spines. Zach hadn't noticed it. Oh. On the coffee table, in the middle of a bunch of junk mail and clutter, was the little frame with the Bible verse in it. The sight of it sent shivers up my spine. Zach hadn't noticed it. He was in the middle of saying something when I silently pointed to it.
Fuck you. You really think that's funny? I didn't do it, man. Then who...
He trailed off.
What's going on? Are you okay?
He began stumbling, and I started to feel dizzy myself.
What?
Zach fell onto the coffee table. I tried to help him, but as I stepped toward him, I watched my eyelids slowly drop, and I stumbled onto the couch. The next thing I remember was waking up groggy on the couch, and I looked around to see the living room was a mess. There were magazines, mail, spilled lemonade all over the floor. I called Zach's name. No response. I got up in a frenzy and started stumbling around looking for him. As the haze started to lift, I realized that he wasn't there. I ran outside and yelled for help. I called Zach's name over and over. I tried to tell myself that it was a cruel joke, that Zach took too far. I knew it wasn't true, though. He wouldn't joke about something like this, and he definitely wouldn't drug me for a prank. I hated myself for not asking the cops to stay. I didn't know what to do. I considered running to the cabin in hopes that the cops were still there investigating, but it was more driving distance than walking distance, and it would take a while to get there, and I wasn't even sure that the cops would still be there. It was getting late at this point. I decided to search for our phones again, and I ran back into the house, still yelling for Zach, and I frantically searched through the couch cushions before I saw it. Not my phone. A tape. My hand shook as I reached for the tape, and it was sitting right there on the coffee table next to the frame with the Bible verse, and there was a piece of masking tape on the side of the tape, and had only one thing written on it. Zach. I screamed until my throat was raw. There wasn't a VCR there. We had already looked. I threw the tape on the coffee table, and it knocked over the Bible verse frame, and that's when I noticed the picture on the other side of the picture. Why does this person write so bad? That's when I noticed the picture on the other side of the picture with the Bible verse. It was Zach's school picture from probably 5th grade. I sobbed as I thought back to 5th grade. I thought about the time I met Zach, building forts in the woods, riding bikes, trying our first beer.
Reading our first Harry Potter erotic fan fiction.
And then I thought about where he might be now, scared, alone. I broke down in a fit of rage and misery that I never felt possible. I grabbed the tape and the Bible verse frame and ran out the door. I sprinted down the road in the direction of the cabin, and as I ran I debated knocking on the door of the first house I saw or going straight to the cabin. I ended up running past the few houses on the road between Zach's and the cabins. The lights were off. It was the middle of the night. My gut burned from running, but I never stopped once. I just ran as fast as I could. It took what felt like an hour to reach the road, and the cabin was on. I stopped to catch my breath for a minute in front of the haunted house. I thought about all the stories of evil in this house. All these people who were completely oblivious to the evil next door visiting the house, hoping for a spooky encounter that they could tell their friends about. I wondered if the events next door coming to light would add to the legend of the haunted house. This wasn't supernatural. This wasn't ghosts or ghouls or zombies. This was a human being like you or me, a deviant monster who hid in plain sight. I ran to the cabin. I didn't see any cop cars out front. I moved slowly down the driveway, hoping I wouldn't run into the killer. As I got around the trees, I saw one squad car. I had never been so happy to see a cop car. I had never been so happy to see a cop car in general. I ran up and banged on the door, and one of the officers threw the door open with his gun drawn. I threw my hands up. It was the first 2 officers that we were with at Zach's mom's house.
What are you doing here?
I ran here, I stuttered and sobbed. The cops let me in and sat me on the couch across from the creepy old man painting. I explained to them what had happened, and one of the officers left immediately to look for Zach. The other one stayed with me, and I gave him the tape and walked him through what had happened. They had a VCR and a small TV set up from where they looked at the other tapes. He said that he needed to see what was on it.
Do you want to go to the other room while I watch it? I want to see it.
I said hesitantly. He popped the tape.
boner.
Harry popped a boner. He popped the tape in. It was just static for about a minute, and then shaky footage of bushes and trees. After a few seconds, the camera panned towards the outside of the cabin and then toward a car in the driveway, Zach's mom's car. I watched as the camera followed us. The video showed us walking out to the car and to the door. It shows us walking for a moment, then back to the car before deciding to go inside again. We were so close to just leaving. We could have gone home and never had to watch those horrible videos. Zach would be back at school, and the whole ordeal would have been an unexciting memory. I continued watching the footage. The door was open, and you could see us walking back and forth in the cabin. And then the camera followed us as we walked outside and looked around. It seemed to follow Zach more than me. The camera even zoomed in on him a few times. You could hear heavy breathing when it zoomed in. It made me sick!
Sick!
All that time we spent talking about how weird it was that we strolled into the house without a second thought, and we had never considered that someone could be watching us. We had spooky stuff on the brain, but never thought about someone lurking in the woods watching us. I felt mentally drained. He could have been watching me right then. It's a thought that became constant for me. I'm always looking over my shoulder now. The video went on. I assumed it would end when we got to the car and drove away, and it went black for a second after the car left the driveway and then jumped to more footage from the woods. It was nighttime in the video. It showed shaky footage of bushes and trees until it landed on a cop car, and after that it panned to Zach's mom's house. It was about 20 minutes of footage of us through the windows. The camera zoomed in on the lemonade we were drinking. It showed the police leaving. The camera panned to the ground as the car pulled out of the driveway, and after that the video showed us walking upstairs. Then he ran towards the house. You could see both hands at the time of the video. You could see both hands at times in the video. The camera was mounted to him in some way. The footage shows him quietly opening the door and putting something in both glasses of the lemonade, and the camera panned around for a second. You could vaguely hear me and Zach upstairs talking. Then the camera focused on the TV stand where there was a picture of Zach when he was like 7. The camera stayed on it for a minute, and you could hear the man breathing heavily. He headed towards the door but stopped in his tracks. He reached into a little satchel and pulled out the Bible verse frame and set it on the coffee table. He walked out the door into the woods, out back. The camera focused on the house as he made his way around to the front where we could be seen through the windows, and he watched us walk back downstairs. He breathed heavily as we drank the lemonade, and then he turned the camera off. That was the end of the tape. Nothing that could tell us where Zach was, nothing that could tell us where the killer was. The police, along with several volunteers, searched those woods day after day to no avail. They had a blurry picture of the guy, but couldn't identify him. And after searching the cabin, the police determined that the man had lived primarily off the grid. Along with the generators that powered the cabin and the rainwater filtration setup, they found a tree stand in the woods behind the cabin. It was full of hunting gear. The woods were full of animal traps. They had nothing to go on. The cars in the driveway were stolen from towns over an hour away. It gave an idea of another area he might be, but some of the cars were stolen from towns in opposite directions. They didn't find the room that was the setting in all the tapes. They didn't recover any bodies, but they were able to identify most of the victims from the videos. They believe that he had at least one other property he used, maybe more. They showed the blurry shot of the man on the news, and the tip line got a few calls, but it was always the wrong guy. After about a month, the news wasn't covering the story anymore. People in town had all but forgotten about it. Locals still talk about the unverifiable deaths at the haunted house, but never mention the very real horrors that occurred next door. They still give tours at the haunted house and let ghost hunters spend the night, usually to make videos of them pointing out specters and sounds that can't be seen or heard in the footage. That or video of them using gadgets that claim to track ghosts but really just pick up electronic devices. I've looked those up online. They aren't cheap and have no scientific merit. Thank you, narrator. I guess it just gets to me that people are so fascinated in this place. Maybe deep down they know it's all bogus. Otherwise, would they really want to stay in the house? With the constant filming that occurs there, you'd think they would have something compelling on video instead of bogus gadgets and inaudible recordings that they decide are ominous words. Being a ghost must be hell, stuck in a crappy old house, constantly being bothered by weirdos with Ouija boards. Sorry, I've become rather cynical. I lost my innocence over the spur-of-the-moment decision to check out a haunted house. If only we hadn't gone for a beer run. If only we... This is my life now. Thinking back through the day over and over. Thinking about all the chances we had to not go into that house. My therapist tries to tell me that what we did alerted the police to what was happening there, and maybe we had prevented the next kid from being taken, and that means nothing to me while the monster runs free. Because Zach was fucking taken. He was the next kid.
But he wasn't a kid, I guess.
No, he wasn't. It's been 4 years to the day since it happened.
Oh, he was the next kid, though.
Yeah. Okay. Zach's mom has been in and out of the psych ward, and so have I. She attempted suicide at least twice. I tried to visit her a few times to see how she's doing, but even seeing me is too painful for her. The one time we did talk, she told me that she still gets phone calls that are just heavy breathing. The cops tell her that it's just kids pulling a prank. I spent a few months in the psych ward after it all happened, and I've been in therapy ever since. It doesn't help. This man controlled my life. I'm always looking over my shoulder. I checked myself into the psych ward on a few occasions because I'm afraid to be alone. I always wanted to have kids, but I know that I never will now. I've become too neurotic. I can't trust anyone. Not that any woman would want to put up with my paranoid ass, nor should they.
Yeah.
We went up there... It's a fucking incel.
Oh.
We went up there looking for a spooky encounter, proof of a haunting, and now we're the ones who are haunted. It's never not on my mind. It controls me. I feel guilty and frightened constantly. I know that Zach's mom has it even worse. She wanted to go up there, and now she'll never see her son again. We were haunted. We are haunted. There's a reason that I'm writing this today, this morning. I woke up from a medication-assisted nap. It's the only way I can sleep now. And only for an hour or two at a time. I went to check the mail, and I opened the door to find a VHS tape sitting on the ground out front. I didn't pick it up. I could see it had a name on it. I knew it was mine. Instead of picking it up, I walked into the woods out back of my house. You see, I had put up cameras out front of my house. They're from a set that comes with 3 cameras, and I left the sign that came up with them. Anyone could look up the set online and find that it comes with 3 cameras. All 3 of those cameras can be seen out front of my house. I had also done a lot of work in the woods out back. I didn't make a trail, but cut the bushes and brush in a way that you can only get through them in one particular direction. Any other direction was too thick with pricklier bushes and trees. I found the trail a few dozen yards into the woods, and there he was, biting down on a stick and trying not to scream. His leg was caught in a bear trap. It was one of the several different traps I had placed on the hidden trail. The traps in the tree stand had given me the idea. I assumed if he saw all 3 of the cameras out front, he would feel safe going through the woods to the side door where the cameras purposefully couldn't see. For years I believed he was watching me. I didn't know when, but I just knew he was. And after watching the videos from the cabin, I figured he wouldn't be able to help himself. He's clearly obsessed. I guess these days, I am too. I gave him a shot to make him sleep and dragged him down to my basement, and I have a chair all ready for him. I tried to make it look similar to the one from the videos, so he felt at home, and after searching his pockets for identification and not finding any, I chained him to the chair. I wanted to make sure he stayed put, so I drilled holes through the arm of the chair. I drove screws through his hands and into the holes into the chair, and then I got out my laptop. He woke up about halfway through me writing this, and I told him that I would like to give him time to consider telling me where Zach, or more likely, Zach's body was. He has until I finish writing this, and I might give him to the police later. I'm worried they'll show him mercy. I won't. He took that from me. That assumption that people are good, that desire to not sink to their level. He took that from me. I'm haunted now.
I'm the haunted house.
I guess this is sort of a confession. I'm going to post this, and then I'm going to inflict 4 years' worth of pain on this man. Years ago, I probably would have called the cops, and I'd say that I'm not like him, that I don't hurt people, but he killed that part of me. I'm not sure what the point of all of this is. I guess there are a lot worse things out there than ghosts and haunted houses. I'll always wonder how things might have been had we never gone up there. Doesn't matter now, though. My camera is all set up. My tools are all laid out. The moment I've been waiting 4 years for is here. I am haunted. More haunted than that haunted house could ever be. And now, I have a video to make. My balls! He took my balls!
You know,
I really hated how that was written.
but I didn't hate...
But I didn't hate the story.
Yeah, I mean...
It hurts that it was written by like a 5th grader who didn't know sentence structure.
I think my other issue, I will say, is the... So here's the thing, and I'm not saying this is impossible, and this could offend to anyone, but like...
Oh, you let it ride?
If my dude is insane and going in and out of a psych ward, now, once again, that's just him saying, like, him getting professional help, but like... How is he managing a normal life?
Yeah, like what do you do for a living?
Yeah, because like the way it's
know?
just playing that part with the psych ward off is like it makes it sound like he's not stable in any way, shape, or form. So like,
so he'd be relying.
How is he very stable now?
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean,
how does he have a house? With
I
a
could be
basement
looking
with
into
cameras
that a
and
little
bear
too
traps?
much.
No, I think it's fair.
But like, I don't know. That plays a small part in my thoughts. It's just like, okay, so my dude's good.
This is just someone's like little revenge story that they thought would be fun.
Yeah, and then also if once again I get the concept of the obsessive part with the killer, but like, why did it take till now for the killer to try to get him?
4 more years doesn't seem like his MO. I mean,
or not even like the 4
don't
more
get me
years.
wrong.
It's just like, why did it take to this very moment of like? Yeah, I mean, I guess the 4 more years plays its part. Like, why did it take 4 more years then? Why didn't it take a year when you were medically, like, induced and shit?
Incapable of thinking for yourself, taking care of yourself, XYZ. Yeah, I think he would have been a lot more weak at a different point in his life. But it does remind me a little bit of, what's his face? BTK. BTK was someone who, like, the FBI was so close to getting in this, like, 16-year window that he legit, like, stopped doing everything he was doing for, like, 8 years. he was like, I'm done, can't do this anymore, they're never gonna catch me. And then like 8 years later was like, I'm gonna start doing it again. And like that's when he was immediately caught the next time.
Yeah.
When technology had gotten that much further. So this is just another one of those cases where like someone just couldn't help themselves, which is a very serial killer thing. But I just, without knowing the perspective of it, like the 4 years that it took from Zach to this OP character, like it just seems too much of a logic gap.
Yeah.
Because, like, you're right, he would have been so much more easier to get at literally any other point leading up to that. And, like, if you're really watching this kid, aren't you seeing him set up, like, the bear traps in the backyard and, like,
how are you setting
putting
up
together
in the
this
woods
fucking
this
predator
whole time?
trap
Yeah.
for you, you know? So, neat little story. Definitely went in a direction I didn't know it was going. But,
yes.
But, man, did it need some polish. It was written... pretty tough. I was making some changes as I was reading it because it was just like the same sentence 3 times for a paragraph.
Yes.
And then we went into the house, and we were surprised we went into the house. We even talked about how crazy it was that we went into the house. Then we left the house and said, maybe we should go back in the house.
And then Hermione touched his erect cock. And he went, oh!
Oh!
You know.
Hagrid! Hagrid, oh!
Hagrid, don't come in here! Do you think Hagrid was there the whole time?
You fool! I'm trying to do.
He was walking around and he's just like
Dumbledore voice.
Oh man, Harry defeated the Lord of Darkness. I'm allowed to come out of the woods again. This is cool.
Yeah.
I wonder what he's up to today. I wonder if he maybe wants to get some dinner or something. I'm a little bored.
Comes up into the Gryffindor
Like,
common room and
hey.
sees him like fucking.
Hey,
like,
Harry?
Fucking like 5 chicks at the same time.
Oh,
Harry!
Harry.
Harry!
Oh,
Hagrid, no!
Harry.
Hagrid! Hagrid, no!
Harry. You're
a pervert, Harry.
Well, thank you for tuning in.
Thanks for joining us for this episode.
It's so many times saying Dumbledore's the headmaster, too.
McRibbed for your pleasure.
We could have had Dumbledore come in, blow him and everything. Like,
Dumbledore's dead.
He was alive in this story. Dobby was alive, too. Dobby didn't fall in the
also
fucking...
been dead.
Yeah, Dobby falls in Mount Doom
the characters in
when he
that story
throws the ring off
dead.
of Frodo.
They even mentioned Susie Bones, who's also dead. She dies
I'm glad
in the battle.
you avoided everything I was doing there. I'm glad you're like, I know he's
Jimmy
doing...
was gone.
He's doing a Gollum joke.
There's a Gollum joke in there somewhere?
I said when Dobby... We all know Dobby died or he fell in Mount Doom.
Oh.
Taking the ring from Frodo. Sorry, Frodo's sock.
Yeah, I love Lion the Witch in the Wardrobe.
God, Prince Caspian, man.
What a looker. Prince Aspian.
Look it up.
Yeah,
look
we gotta look that up next. Yeah, except they were all like
the
12.
line to bitch in the wardrobe.
Yo, nice.
Whoa.
You could write that one. We're doing a writing special.
It's gonna be a weird one. Weird
Mr. Tumnus.
Taking a very like Christian
Mr. Tumnus
story.
just has like a third leg.
That's
fucking
my
dragging
Mr.
around in
my
the sand.
dick.
It was James McAvoy in the original movie. Remember that?
Wait, I never actually watched any of them.
In the Disney one.
I always wanted to watch it. I owned it on DVD.
That was the first movie I always forgot that James McAvoy. That was like the first American movie he
when
was
I
in.
went through confirmation, I got handed a gift card to Hackman's bookstore.
Yeah.
When it was, the Bible store there.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you got to cut all this now.
Nah.
So I got a gift card to that Bible store, and I went in one day and I went, "What am I gonna buy?"
Yeah.
Because I was excited because it's a gift card.
Yeah,
at
everyone's
the age, I'm like, hell yeah, I'm gonna buy something.
Income. Yeah.
And then I'm like, I am very non-religious. What do I do with this? So I bought Lion, the Witch, and a Wardrobe.
Did you read it?
No, I bought the movie.
Oh, okay.
And I put it on my shelf and never opened it.
And you never watched it?
Yeah.
Damn, dude. It's a solid fucking movie.
I heard.
It's a solid fucking movie. Very good.
And I'm pretty
It's
sure
a
the
time
second one
period.
actually wasn't bad too.
Was that Voyage of the Dawn Treader?
Well, maybe that was the third one then. I don't know.
Prince
Caspian's the only other one I knew. I didn't even know if there was a Voyage of the Dawn Treader.
Yeah, Voyage of the Dawn Treader is where they meet Prince Caspian. For some reason, I'm not thinking of all of them the right way. It's been a good time.
Harry was erect.
God damn.
Hermione jerked him off. All the other characters from Harry Potter were alive in this instance.
Except for Voldemort, he was very dead.
Voldemort was dead and Snape wasn't mentioned.
Snape would also be dead.
Yeah, I know. That's my point. Where was Draco? Oh, Draco.
Oh, Draco.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, Draco. I really did like your, I think this is my favorite part of that episode. At least it's what Allie brings up the most. Which is your Tom Ridd.
I don't even remember the fucking Tom.
Hey, it's me, Tom Ridd.
Oh, yeah, because I was doing a Tom Rig brown dumb Kia.
Yeah.
I want to see you in my Harry Potter erotic fan fiction.
In my Hot Topic Hogsmeade store.
Oh, God.
Was that your last episode? No, your last episode.
No.
I was looking it up the other day. Your last episode was not hot but spicy, which doesn't exist anymore, ironically.
Yeah, no, one of the last ones I did definitely was the troll episode. I know that.
That was 200. This is 286. You did something more recent than that.
250 I did. Because I was part of the first run.
You were part of the square.
Game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely the last one I did then. The last solo, I don't remember.
Welcome to the Square 251. Yeah.
Yeah.
242 was not hot but spicy. And then it was 202 and 203, which is Chaos in the Woods. And then 199, which is the end of the show.
Yeah, where we read the
Guy
story
Fieri,
about
fanfic.
Guy Fieri getting fucked by Sasquatch.
Yeah, and the Loch Ness Monster watched.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
And then we tried reading Jeff the Killer again at 197 and failed.
Yeah, we only got...
Or succeeded. Depending on what way you want to think about it, we could have really succeeded by giving that up.
God,
like,
I wish I...
2 chapters
Looking
in.
back at that, I wish I didn't do the fucking Bob Hoskins Mario voice I was trying to do.
I mean, it worked.
Oh.
And then the real winner here is episode 139, which is My Immortal. Everyone talks about that one.
The real winner is Pale Luna.
I mean, I like your solo episodes. Which one has the most views, though? Most Wanted Haunted.
What was...
That's where we go around the haunted country.
Nah, my
the
favorite was like
countries is your
one of the
episode.
first ones we did, though. The one with the little girl that was abused. And
Never again.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
Or
Pale Luna smiles.
Yeah, I
and
like
you just
Pale...
always sit there and you're
I
like,
like Pale
stop.
I like Pale Luna.
Pale Luna. And then Hermione grabbed onto my shaft. And I came everywhere.
Never again.
Never
I
again.
forget her name. What was it? It was like
Wasn't it Lacey or some shit?
yeah, it was like Elizabeth Rose or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Abigail Rose or something. Something weird.
Never again.
On the next episode,
I can just find it out.
we're
right
going to
now.
read Attack on Titan fan fiction,
Oh,
erotic
shit.
fan fiction.
Are you gonna voice Armin?
It's going to be when Aaron Yeager puts his Jaeger inside Armin.
Is a Jaeger a thing? I thought it was just his last name.
Well, his PP.
Oh no, the story is literally just called Never Again, so I'll never remember her name now.
On a final ending note, since we never end right away on my episodes, we kind of just keep going until you're like, all right, I'm done. On a quick ending note, movie review time with Chet and Mickle. I'm Chet with my host here, Mickle. Mickle, say hi to the crowd.
Hey.
Hey, Mickle. So we watched the film Oddity, and we're going to give you the 5, and I mean it, 5-second review.
It was fine.
Thank you for tuning in. Now I'm going to give you a 5-second synopsis rundown. You ready for this one? Here goes. Blind girl gives wooden man. That's it.
All that I hope you were going to say to end it was just, wood man.
Blind girl gives wooden man. All that matters. Oh, blind girl gives wooden man splat.
Wood man. Crack.
Oh. Random,
Very cool.
Random ghost bits that feel a little unrealized, though, in my
Disjointed
opinion.
and unreal. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole part of the sister felt really like... It was good. It was just like...
Make up your mind.
Yeah, like, if you're gonna do the whole, like...
Stay in your lane.
What's the horror movie that does that, where the monsters are, like, warning? Is that 13 Ghosts, technically?
Sinister? Where, like, the kids are running around?
No. There
Where
is
the-
one
where
where,
the
like,
ghosts are
the ghost is
warning?
kind of, like, trying to lure somebody in and push everybody else out. I swore there was a movie that did that. I can't think of it now.
A movie where a ghost tries to lure people in, but push other people out?
Yeah, I swore there was something like that. Because that's essentially what the ghost of the wife is doing. Because she pushes away his girlfriend.
Yes.
So he
scares
is
the
alone.
girlfriend out of the house so that.
But
he
it's just
doesn't
like, it
get
felt like
another-
that should have been more of a thing.
I
in
mean,
my
yeah,
opinion.
there were several aspects of the movie that did not feel finished.
Otherwise,
But what a hell of an opening! It's one
well
of those
worth the
movies.
watch.
It's one of those movies where it's like, genuinely, the first, I want to say, like 10 minutes make you think.
I'd say the first 45 minutes of the film was
Like,
really strong.
What would you do? Genuine pitch without killing it. What would you do if in the middle of the night you live in your own, in the countryside, in the middle of nowhere, no neighbors, you can't find your phone, you're looking all around for it, you run outside, you check the car, you can't find it, but when you come back inside and you lock the door, you feel the presence of someone watching you. So, you turn to your old-ass door and you open up the little guest port, because you don't have a eye hole, you have one of those old-school fortress fucking open the ports to see the person standing on the other side of the wall, and there's a man up against your door saying, "You have to let me inside, there's someone in there with you." And the man looks like crazy when he's saying it. Do you, A, let the crazy man in and succumb to whatever the situation inherits, or do you, B, tell him to fuck off because there's no way you would trust a strange crazy man coming into your house,
Or
even if it
C,
means that someone might actually be in your house?
Or C, read Harry Potter erotic fan fiction.
To get some McRibbed in you. Yeah, no, we took option C. That's fair. That's fine.
Option, see you later.